Maybe you're getting your ass kicked, or maybe you're just looking for some ways to improve your game. Whatever the reason is, here are my tips to exceed in combat. And just a note, this isn't for any specific hero, but for all heroes in general. So first, let's talk about the different damaging effects found for each hero. These damage effects come in the form of combos, generally, so do not button mash, you will not succeed. And I repeat, no button mashing allowed. And the first damage effect is guard, and generally what's most important here is that it breaks block. So you can view all of this in your skill tree through your signature move that you get, through the combos that you unlock through there. That's where you're going to be needing to do those moves. You want to do combos, you want to do your signature move. Next is damage. Pretty self-explanatory. You have low, medium, high. That's for each of these damage effects. So the amount of damage the attack will do. Impact. Low, medium, high again as well. But what impact does, it staggers the enemy. And this is incredibly useful. You can even knock the enemy out of an unblockable attack, the red attack. So you're definitely going to want to focus on combos that are high in impact, because they can make a day and night difference. Stun, everybody knows what that is. Again, comes in low, medium, high. Stuns the enemy, how quickly the attack builds up the stun gauge. And reaction, I've seen different reactions. I've seen light, which it will generally not even affect the enemy, they'll keep attacking you. Stagger, which is what we just talked about with impact, it will break the enemy out of their move, it will stagger them. Flyback, it will cause the enemy to be knocked back at an incredible pace. And spin, I haven't seen it do anything particular with the enemy, it doesn't really affect it, but that's just another reaction that they listed. Now that the damage effects are understood, how do you plan on surviving? That's the question. Well, doing combos that are high in stun will lead to takedowns, and takedowns are one of the most important utilities at your disposal. You will gain a decent amount of health for each takedown, and depending on what you spec in your skill tree, you may get a regeneration orb or heroic orb. So your gameplay should be centered around stunning your enemies and performing takedowns whenever possible. And then whenever your skills become available, use them immediately, then build up that stun gauge again, takedown, use skills. So takedowns will keep you alive because they give you health no matter what. And if you decide to use a regeneration orb, you're going to get even more health. If you decide to do a heroic orb, you're going to be able to use your skills much more frequently. And I haven't forgotten about how to deal with projectiles. Don't you worry. So let's get down to business. Take out turrets if there are any in the start of the battle. Do that first. Then move on to any ranged enemy, flying or not. And I know there's basically every enemy in the game has some form of ranged capability. But if more ranged enemies spawn during the fight, switch your focus to them. And in order of focus for range, I would say go to rocket turrets, adept drones, and adept keepers. So all three of those enemy types shoot the tracking rocket projectile that can end your career very quickly. So you're going to want to deal with the rocket enemies first, and if there are any spin type enemies, spin drones, spin keepers, maybe there's another type of spin, take them out. They should have the same priority as the rocket type enemies, because the spin enemies will drain your skills. They'll leave a suppressed debuff on you. You can't dodge, you can't jump, so those should take priority as well. Once the rocket enemies are dealt with, move on to the bullet tracking enemies and enemies that can inflict status effects at range, such as the Cryo Synthoids, the Purge Keepers, the Stiletto robots who do that lightning tracking move. That's where the red X appears on your character. That will fuck you up. Get rid of him. Most enemies in this game have some sort of range capability, like I mentioned, so you're going to want to take out the most damaging and disruptive enemy first. And this is going to be different for each scenario. You may have adaptoids, you may have full of stiletto robots, you may have the phase robots. So this is just a base case scenario of how you will want to approach a fight. And note, if you're Iron Man or Black Widow, you will have a more difficult time dealing with projectiles since you can't just hold down R2 on PS4 to be able to negate them. So you may have a more frustrating experience. But since you are Iron Man, you can fly, you can take down flying enemies quickly, you can destroy rockets mid-flight. Same thing with Black Widow, pull out your guns, you can shoot the rockets, you can shoot flying enemies, you can grapple to the enemies. So you do have some other things at play. And my boy Thor, he's amazing in this regard, as Odin Force will destroy any missile or projectile. So you should definitely play him. And after following these tips, you still find yourself dying and not having a good time during combat, you find it frustrating, Maybe look into building resilience on your gear. Don't just willy-nilly equip whatever has the best power level. Equip your gear that has high resilience and resolve. Resolve will give you more health. You'll be able to last longer. And the last and most important thing that could definitely add to your frustration playing the game are mission modifiers. Keep a very, very close eye out on mission modifiers. You can view a mission modifier before you even start the mission. If you're playing PS4, just hold down R2 and it'll tell you what the unique modifiers are. Or if you're actually in the mission, just press start and they'll be on the left side of your screen. Mission modifiers work both ways, so it increases whatever it is for your character and also for the enemy. So if you see projectile damage increase, like greatly increase, it's going to be for you and for the enemy. So 1 rocket, 2 rockets might just kill you just like that. Or if melee damage is incredibly increased, you're going to do a lot of damage melee, but so will, if you fight an exo or an adaptoid. 2 hits, 3 hits, you're dead. So definitely look out for mission modifiers. These are more prevalent in the elite versions of a vault or a villain sector, but they can be in normal missions as well. And these refresh quite often, so if you do one mission, kicks your ass, and you're wondering why, check out the mission modifiers, and maybe you can come back to it an hour after the war table refreshed, and maybe the mission modifiers will be different. So definitely look into that. Well, those are my tips on how to exceed in combat. I hope that helped out some people at least. If you have any questions in the comments, let me know and I'll try my best to answer them. Peace.